Hello and welcome to another edition of Video Games to the Max. I am your host, Sean Garmer. Here with me, as always, Mr. Mark Morrison.
Howdy.
And well, we have one heck of a doozy today. It's opening night live of Gamescom. Happened a few hours ago. We're going to talk about everything they got, announced at the show, what we like, what we didn't like, what seems interesting. Embracer Group is buying everything, folks. If you didn't hear about it, earlier in the week, we're going to talk about it too. And there's quite a few other things to discuss as well. And we're going to do all that right after this.
You are listening to Video Games to the Max.
All right. So, well, just to get this thing out of the way, of course, if this is your first time listening or the many a time listening or even watching us on YouTube or Twitch or wherever it is that you watch, you can do so on the WTM Network YouTube channel where you get, every time we do a show here, Video Games to the Max, and also Todd the Keiki, they do their thing on video, and of course, Radlets from broadcasting as well. So Todd the Keiki is about Talk the Keiki is about anime. I can't talk right now, and you got all the entertainment stuff with Mr. Radlich as I think they just did another review right before we started recording, so there will be certainly something out there for you guys to listen to or watch if you prefer. And of course, you can go to that last word on gaming.com, wtuna.com as well, and check out those things there. And we are available on podcasts. If you're watching, it does come out a little bit faster on the YouTube. So you can subscribe to the YouTube channel, get it a little bit faster, but we do get an edited version on the audio side, wherever there are podcasts, whether it's Apple, Google, whatever. And if you would do us a great favor and review the show, that would help us a lot, whether it's positive or negative, letting us know at least what you enjoy or don't enjoy about the show. Daniel had to be called, he was called into work, so he is not on with us here, but let's get started. This is the most recent thing. We got that opening night live of Gamescom, hosted by Geoff Keighley, of course. So, I mean, in general, what did you think about what was presented? 2.5 hours. There was no like bangers. There was no like, oh, here's the big AAA game that we've all been waiting for. There's a lot of AA and indie stuff. I mean, anything about the show or what you thought about the show stand up?
I mean, the trailers were mostly fine. Let's see. That Kojima thing was a nightmare. And that co-host was insufferable.
I've not understood this thing that he's been doing where we do awards for things that are not out yet. It's like I get E3 does awards as well, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just they're not needed on this opening night live thing. Like if you want to announce it later on Twitter or whatever, then cool, but like I don't really see the point of doing these.
Or like,
Um,
the game that PS5 owners want to see like on their console. It's like that, that's not already on there. It's like, who cares? Like
yeah, it's like none of that was God of War, so I mean, come on. It doesn't. Yeah, I mean, I'm cool with having somebody that you want to, do your like announcements or promotions or whatever. If that's what you need to do, and we know Geoff Keighley is all about that. He's got to pay for this thing somehow, but just the awards thing is kind of like I need something to kind of take some of the time, give me a
or like,
break.
yeah, the green award. It's like, who cares? Come
Yeah,
on.
really. Yeah, I don't know. Just
I
don't
mean, I
think
thought,
that's.
like I said, I thought that. I mean, nothing against her personally, but that female host was terrible also. like she was like looking at her cue cards every 3 seconds. And it's like, I think I looked her up on Twitter, and she's like, she said like, oh, X Counter-Strike 1.6 player. And I'm thinking, no, like you're too young for that. And then
Yeah.
also, like, I don't know if you need to be briefed more on this, or if you're just like bad at your job, or what, but put in a little preparation, or do something.
Yeah. That's weird that like you have such a big event and you're not going to be prepared where you're just reading off cue cards. I guess maybe it's also just making sure you don't mess up on anything. Maybe,
I
yeah,
mean,
or yeah.
then just use like
Yeah.
a teleprompter, like.
Maybe it was too expensive to have a teleprompter. I don't know. Like, could they only have one for Keighley and they didn't want to put in
I
her
know.
stuff as well? I don't.
Well, he had cue cards too, but he wasn't
Yeah.
like glancing at it all. Like I had to like look for
Yeah.
his, because he wasn't like
Right.
doing it all the time. So yeah, and I mean, this isn't, like I said, I'm not picking on this woman specifically, because THQ had that one, or I think it was Embrace or whatever, had that one like 2 weeks ago, or last week. Sorry, that was also bad.
Yeah. I mean, you come to expect that from them. I mean, at least it's not as bad as the one last year where they had to set a bunch of talking and hardly any gameplay at all. But yeah,
Right.
it's, you know, so I mean, what did you think about? Were there any like games that stood out to you from what we got to see in this big runtime? Or
That Life of P game seemed interesting. That like Pinocchio thing. Some of these look really funky to me, like the Expanse game. It's like that's a pretty niche property, and it's not tied in directly into the show. So, good
yeah,
luck with that. I mean, I think the main actress is from the show.
right.
But, like, not any of the other characters, it seemed like, or like, I guess I didn't get enough into that show to like whether her character was actually like important. But I was
Mhm.
looking for like the main, 4 or 5 crew members on the ship. I forget what it's called, the Recente or something weird like that, and they aren't in there. So it's like, this is all right. Like, uh, that one I don't know. A few of the games looked interesting, like that one Returnal looking game. You're like crash land on an alien planet. Uh, I mean, that was kind of a few of them actually, but
Yeah, there was a lot of that. Um, it's kind of like the horror stuff is not going away, and then you also seem to have a lot of, oh, we're going to the aliens as well.
right. Uh, but I mean, yeah. What about you? What popped out to you?
I like that Life of P game as well. Helps that it's coming to Game Pass. It looked fun as I'm sitting here trying to do something, and then of course Twitch has to have stupid audio on. But anyway, yeah, the Life of P game looked great. I'm not usually into like the big Souls stuff, but that looked like I love the art style of it and everything else. So that looked good to me. And also, I think what can't think of it. The actually, you know what? I'm probably not going to do anything with this game at all. But I will say the Dead Island 2 trailer looked interesting
I mean,
at the end.
I think it's going to be a worse game, but it looked more, at least aesthetically, interesting than Dying Light 2.
Yeah,
My
I mean,
my my problem is, I know it's just going to be a huge mess when it comes out, like both, like stability wise, and just you know how long it's been in development for. Like, it's going to be like a weird mishmash.
yeah, for sure. I would. The thing with we just saw that Saints Row got some terrible reviews.
Yeah,
As we expected, Dead Island 2 being like in development so long, maybe there's a chance they made it good.
I,
But
I
yeah,
I would say the over under for development time should be like 4 years.
yeah,
Like if a game
that,
is in development longer than that, the longer it's in development, the worse it's going to eventually end up being.
yeah, I agree. The thing with I mean, I like the way they did the trailer at least. Just we'll have to see how that game pans out. But
Speaking of Saints Row, I mean, I watched Jeff Gersman's video
yeah,
of the thing, and he pointed out for that Goat Simulator 3. I think he said like this game looks like all the fun shit that should have been in Saints Row is in this thing instead.
yeah, I saw a lot of the bugs that have been going around for Saints Row as well.
Yeah.
Tales from the Borderlands 2, or New Tales from the Borderlands is what they're calling it.
That might be good, but
Yeah,
I just don't have any faith in Gearbox.
yeah,
Like them
yeah.
going like, oh, we wrote it, or we co-wrote it. It's like that's not helping your case. Like,
Yeah, exactly, because you knew that they were kind of involved in the one for the first one, but it was mostly Telltale people.
yeah,
So it's different in that the comedy hits different, the writing hits different. They did have some unique character choices here as well. The wheelchair lady, and didn't think I would see that, but okay. So
I'm really dreading. Actually, I'm really dreading that character because I imagine she's going to be extremely over the top.
yeah, I mean, you could already tell from the trailer, kind of.
Yeah.
She's gonna be a little bit extra there. I liked the Callisto Protocol gameplay. That looks fun.
I thought it was
Yeah,
funny, really, at the end when the guy's going down that like long tube of water or like those sewers, and
yeah,
he got killed right at the end. I'm just like, yep, this is total Tomb Raider all over again.
yeah. I mean, he's obviously getting killed on purpose, but the thing is, it didn't look that's where I think when you're using demo footage or whatever, that part of the demo didn't look very good. The other part I thought was pretty good. I like the whole where if you don't kill the monster quick enough, they like transform right in front of you, freaking you out more. So that's
Yeah.
always
This is a
yeah.
bad trailer, but that Gotham Knights trailer was terrible.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, like, I mean, Jeff also pointed this out, but like that game is due out in 2 months. They should have shown like a 5-minute demo of like the actual game, not some like sizzle reel of like, oh, Clayface is in it. It's like, who cares? Like, I'm gonna
Yeah,
buy the game because
interesting that they moved it up 4 days, but then you don't show you any gameplay. I guess maybe they're planning to do that because I'd imagine that game is on the floor. So
yeah,
we're gonna get gameplay reveals for that.
and
Since it's like WB's like only game kind of that's coming soon.
yeah.
So
I know it still has a lot of negative buzz, but I don't know. Sonic Colors look still fine.
oh, the
Technically.
Frontiers. Yeah.
Yeah. What is it? Sonic.
Yeah, Sonic
Yes.
Frontiers.
Yeah. Sorry,
Yeah.
not Sonic Colors, but yeah.
And it's coming out this year. So
Right.
So that's a positive. So let's run through this since it is the same night that it happened. One of the games I was going to mention, that Everywhere game looks really interesting.
That
It's
looked
from
See, I
yeah,
thought that when they pitched that initially, I thought it was just going to be like another GTA or like
right.
open world crime game. This looks like weird, like GTA mixed with like No Man's Sky.
Yeah, I mean they did say they want you to be able to do everything in it.
But like you're
So
I guess for the trailer they showed like 80% of it on some like alien planet, and I was like, what's going on here?
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
did CJ from Saints Row get thrown into the rocket and just land on this alien planet?
Yeah. Yeah, I like his pitch was, that you can you're gonna have so much creativity. You're gonna be able to go anywhere you want. Like, is it gonna be one of those like, oh, you promise a lot and you can't deliver, like No Man's Sky, and then you have to work on it
Yes,
through all these whole years, or are you gonna be able to do that off
yes,
the
it will.
bat? I mean, you would expect that it's an ex Rockstar Grand Theft Auto developer, so that's the main guy on it. So
The
you would
Benz,
he's
yep.
used to making those kind of games, so that's what he's planning on what we're getting here, but we shall see.
Right.
But I thought he did a good job of selling it, at least. Interesting game to have started the show off with.
It was the first gameplay footage, at least, so that was cool.
Yeah. I mean, that's what a lot of this whole thing felt like to me was, oh, there's this ex maker of this is now making this, and here's this game, and so we're not getting like a lot of known properties. It was a lot more of, okay, new IP or new game being made, or a game that you kind of knew about, but it's not absolutely huge. I think really Callisto Protocol might have been the biggest game that's there on the show, quite honestly. That's not bad. It's just setting people's expectations that maybe are listening and didn't watch this. Yeah, this is not Game Awards where they try to actually have, the big.
Yeah, the biggest hits, but it also is not like some super indie thing either. So
it's not.
It rides a happy medium, as far as a few big games are relatively big, and then moving out to and shit like that.
And they are going to have their own like indie showcase thing, I think, on Wednesday, they said. So of course, this is like all week. I think it ends on Saturday, so we'll have, by the time whether we do a show on Sunday or we do another just do it on Tuesday, we'll have plenty to talk about from all the things that are going to get shown off on this thing. It's basically like E3 in August. Yeah,
I swear to God, that High on Life game better have like a mute function for your guns and shit.
Oh, I'd imagine not, because that's the whole point of having the face on the gun is, oh, hey, this gun talks to you. And not only that, but your other weapons apparently as well talk to you.
Yeah, so, I mean, they've shown footage of other weapons that have other faces on them. So yeah, they're more different personalities. But no, that main gun or that guy is too annoying.
Yeah, also like that footage that they showed. I don't know what you're supposed to be doing there. Like,
I mean, it was a boss. Like I felt that pretty closely, just a boss fight. At least they showed actual gameplay. That looked actually like like a boss fight in that game. Swinging around.
Well, yeah, but it felt like he's doing a heck of a lot more dodging than he is shooting. So, gonna be interesting.
It didn't look like your pea shooter was doing much. Like it looked.
Yeah,
it seemed scripted and like you can only attack, only do damage at certain points. Like you're watching the trailer and like, yeah, attacks take off like a percentage point, like 1 point, but then once it got in like some certain phase, you suddenly took off like 25% of its health. And that's like, what?
Right. And then he has that thing that like causes him to jump around or whatever.
Yeah, it's a combination like grappling hook and like shield, or like it could like counter energy shots. So
yeah,
I mean, it's reminding me of like some weapon from like Earthworm Jim 2.
Yeah,
like the snot rocket.
That too.
Yeah.
There is definitely some inspiration from Earthworm Jim in here, and which is good.
I mean, it reminded me a lot of that. That one game me and Jens played. It was a Stadia game, or I mean, it went to Stadia as well. They're gonna make a sequel, like a first-person game, like exploration based, but it had a bunch of like kind of goofy shit in it as well.
Yeah.
I don't remember the name. I don't
care. It'll come to you at some time during this show. Yeah,
I can always just look it up, but I don't care that much.
There's the Dune Awakening game. Got a trailer. So it's an open world survival MMO set in the Dune universe.
How do you even do that? It's not like, I mean, Dune has a few books to it, but they're all like they're all pretty story focused, or like how many Paul, I'm a level 18 Paul. Well, my friend is level 37 Paul. It's like, okay.
Are they just gonna have, I guess, a created character probably? Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
What do you do for factions in that game? Or like, well, I'm part of the evil faction, intentionally. It's like, huh?
Yeah. Exactly. That's exactly what they're doing. I Yeah, it looked interesting. We'll
Yeah.
see. It's a short snippet, so it's not like you're gonna
Yeah, they
get
just showed
really.
like, yeah, a CGI trailer, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how you feel about the whole like Dune franchise as a whole. I mean, I know apparently the movie was actually pretty good. So
I only saw the first movie, the one with Patrick Stewart. It was fine.
okay,
It was pretty truncated, but
yeah.
all
I
right.
mean, it is a big book. So.
Right.
But I mean, it looks at least. It looks interesting from what we saw, but obviously they have a lot more to go on it still, and I'm sure we'll get more as time goes. I thought they took off the two, but the Lords of the Fallen looked interesting.
With that
Had
sweet Danzig song.
yeah, right. The music definitely had me paying attention, for sure. I always meant to play the first one, and I kind of heard it was
What,
kind of
Lords of the Fallen?
okay. Yeah, the first
No,
Swords of the
it's
Fallen. Yeah.
bad, and
Oh,
you
it's
wouldn't
bad.
like it.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
it's a pretty naked Dark Souls clone.
Okay. To Dark Souls. I thought it was an RPG,
No.
but
Yeah, let me look it up, but I think it's maybe the same guys who did like the Surge. Uh,
oh, okay. Fair enough then.
yeah, Deck 13. Yep, 2014. I got like mid 70s,
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, yep, Dark Souls clone. Or they
Yeah.
call it action RPG, like what you're thinking of, but it's not
Right.
because it's very animation heavy and yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. At least they did a good job in getting you to pay attention to it, and it's a very well done trailer. Um, I don't know why Geoff Keighley with his like, oh, this is one of his lines of, oh, you've been waiting for this game for a very long time. It's like, have we really been waiting for this? I don't know a lot of people that have, but sure, okay.
I mean, I think a lot of people forgot about it. So,
Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah, I would say that's
or
more
didn't
likely.
remember the first game because I think like
Right.
Jeff didn't even know what that was. Or
Yeah, I remember that they had announced the Lords of the Fallen 2, but then I was like, until he mentioned, I was like, oh, okay, that's the second game. They just took the number 2 off.
yeah,
Okay, now I get it. But yeah, it's fine. We'll, I guess, see more of it. Like
right.
I mentioned, the aforementioned Callisto Protocol gameplay. I like the stuff where you're actually killing the I don't know what
Necromorph.
you call those. Yeah. Um, the stuff with the water wasn't great, but I'm sure that's just like a small section of the game. Most of it you're going to be doing the shooting or sneaking around killing monsters, so
Yeah,
that's fun. Are you interested in that game at all, or you waiting for Dead Space?
not really because I actually never played Dead Space that much. So
Oh, okay.
I think I
Yeah.
played Dead Space 2 on PC and it was kind of screwed up because they gave you like all the DLC weapons at the start or all the DLC
Yeah.
crap. So it's like, why would I use this like 4-slot suit when in my inventory is like this 26-slot suit? So it trivialized like most of the game. And then after an hour, I'm just, yeah, I'm kind of done.
Yeah. I I'm a big fan of
I
those games. So
I respect those games from a distance. Let's say that,
yeah.
except for Dead Space 3, like 1 and 2 are pretty good.
We also got the one announcement from Sony, which is the DualSense Edge controller that we had talked about previously. It's their sort of
Elite.
shot at making it the Xbox Elite controller.
Their half-assed Elite controller.
Yeah.
I don't know how. They said you can swap out the analog sticks. That might be good.
Yeah, they showed that in the commercial. Yeah, that you can swap them out.
But like their big thing of like, oh, you can have custom profiles for games. It's like, who cares? Or like what game? Like you can do that from the system.
I guess for like fighting games that would be ideal. Right?
Yeah, but you can do that from. I mean, every fighting game has a customized control option, and even from like the game, like the PS5, you can do like swap out controls. I think.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, this is my Street Fighter 6, key configuration, but for Tekken 7, it's the X's and circles swapped.
Right. Any thoughts on the Hogwarts Legacy latest trailer? I don't know if you.
It seems really dour, or like just not colorful,
Yeah.
Because like I mean, as those movies went on, they got more serious. But like, if you compare the first movie to like the last movie, it is almost completely different looking as far as cinematography goes. Like the first movie is such a colorful, like warm movie, and the last movie is like such a cold and like distant and gray movie.
Right.
And it looks like they're just aping that, and it's like that's not. I don't know about that. Like,
yeah, I mean, I thought it looked fine. You didn't, this wasn't like the state of play where you're getting a lot,
right?
From it. So
I'm not like, put it this way, I'm not like morally against the game just because whatever name is a shithead,
yeah. Which I mean, all's fair about that. I'm kind of, I don't know really how I feel about it because I know that she's not directly involved.
Right.
So, but I know she will still get money from it. So it's one of those of, do you support her or not? I'm a Harry Potter fan, so it's hard for me to like not want to play it, just to be able to experience that. And then it kind of being like open world, create your own person. It's not really using the like a lot of the known characters or whatever. Then I think that also helps it in a way too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of just want to experience it and see what it's like. I mean, all the things I've seen, it looks good.
I mean, it'd be nice if there was at least one good Harry Potter game out there.
Yeah, yeah, it would be. It would be nice if it was. Then it'd be cool if it this one, so they can keep adding things to it since it's made in a way to where you could just add content to it and keep exploring it. So, that it's positive. We know it got delayed. We talked about that. Actually, I think I mentioned it, and then we didn't talk about it. Actually, it getting delayed to February 10th, 2023 now. So, yeah, it's a hopefully this date sticks so it can actually come out, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I was a fan of the Moving Out one game. I thought there was definitely some things that could have added to like smooth out the experience. So hopefully this is like their Overcooked to Overcooked 2. It's the same team. So
Right.
And it improves it. I don't know if you played this or not.
I didn't play the first one, but I mean, it looked fine.
Yeah. Any thoughts on that Dying Light 2 DLC?
No.
No? Okay.
Like, I thought it looked okay, but I didn't play Dying Light 2.
So is it just gonna be like based in an arena? Is that?
I mean, I hope not, because those are all That's a bad game concept, or that's an extremely shallow one. People want to like explore and like see new shit. It not, oh, I'm facing wave 48 of zombies, and this one has
Right.
2 spitter zombies and 3 brute zombies. Great.
Yeah, definitely. I'm certainly one for the Sonic Frontiers. I love how they showed the 2D stuff and then also the 3D stuff.
Yeah.
I know you were kind of down on it.
No,
There.
I'm of a mixed idea or mixed mind, because I think the open world stuff looks fine. I think the stages are going to be bad.
Oh, okay.
Like the 3D, like the open world is a great idea, but like having the cyberspace stages, it's like, oh, it's just going to be like Sonic Adventure or one of those games again. Great.
Yeah. I'm hoping for the best for it. I'm just worried about, like, they're really wanting to make sure it comes out this year. I hope they're not rushing it. I hope it's not
Well,
going to come out
when have they ever rushed a
buggy.
Sonic game out before?
Well, just this year, and we saw what happened with that.
Except for the collection, then Rise of Lyric, and the Sonic 2006. I mean, except for those 3 examples.
Yeah, I mean, and then we saw what happened with Battleland Wonderland, where he asked for more time, and they said no, and then it comes out a buggy mess. Yeah.
That was at least Square's mistake, not Sega's for once. So
Yeah, but still, I'm just saying in general, not great. Hopefully they're not rushing it out, and hopefully that it is going to be cool when it does come out. There's that Goat Simulator 3.
that looked really bananas. Like,
yeah,
even more,
even more bananas than it you normally get with the Goat Simulator. So I know they're kind of on the bad list as well as far as developers go, but Under the Waves, I was kind of interested in it. It's a Quantic Dream game, so take it what you will. Yeah,
I don't mind them. I mean, they might have a shitty company mindset or culture, but it's not worse than like Blizzard.
yeah. Company culture is they are do pretty great narrative games.
I mean, it seemed like a weird like third person like BioShock also.
Yeah, that too. But it also kind of gave me the vibes of like, okay, well, we got some Abzu in here with seeing the creatures and everything else, the wildlife, and so I'm down for that as well. Like I that's something that we're seeing a lot of, having these like just game experiences that are very rather unique. We saw that a lot, I think, in this as well. Moonbreaker was another one that I was like, okay, I could be down with this. This is interesting.
Moonbreaker just seemed extreme. It didn't seem shallow, but it seemed very like by the numbers almost, or like just I've seen that type of game before, and then like it just seemed like what is that Toy Soldiers game, just with more fantasy stuff.
Okay.
And not obviously not tower defense, but just XCOM or like light strategy.
Yeah, he definitely mentioned XCOM in it there with the strategy elements. You can see it with sort of like the chess pieces moving around, like you mentioned, like toys, kind of.
The thing it really made me think of was that one level in Psychonauts 1, the board game one.
Okay, yeah, because they do look at their kind of like pieces on a board game moving around. Yeah. I mean, this could be fun.
Sure.
I just gotta see more of it, hoping it's not like a one-trick pony kind of thing.
Is that the one
Yeah.
where? Yeah, that was the one with that author dude, right?
Yes,
And
the
it's
author was
like
at the beginning.
how much of a story is this thing gonna have? Or like, because it seemed
Yeah.
to me like some multiplayer shooter, or like or some not some story heavy thing.
Right, and also like you're kind of building your own, you can build your own uh characters or whatever, and
Yeah,
also like your own, I guess, deck in a way. So um that's going to be interesting how all that happens. uh I just think it's a neat concept,
sure.
making their coming from the Subnautica team. So
I mean,
nice
it's
to see
different.
them.
I'll give them that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, you would think, okay, we're gonna kind of stay in the same vein, maybe just a little bit different experience, and no, they just went totally different for that.
yeah.
um they showed more Return to Monkey Island. I'm always down for that.
I know
Screw the
Jens is
people that
excited.
Yeah, screw the people that decided to you know make Dan, the
It's
creators'
coming out.
life.
It's
Yeah,
coming
it's
out soon, like
yeah,
sooner than
next
I
month.
thought. Or yeah, I was like, huh, okay.
Yeah, so, and I think they might have moved it up because I swear it was coming out the end of September. Now it's like the third week, like September 21st or something. So that's pretty quick. Um, another one that we mentioned Liza P. Um, I thought this was one of the more, like, when you're talking about just straight up like the way the trailer was done. Um, I thought it was one of the more just standout ones, I think, from the show. That we've seen it before, so it's not like it's totally brand new or anything, but just really liked the setting,
Yeah.
um, and just seeing the I guess the gameplay parts of it, where she's just like taking that hammer and just smashing the whatever that is that she's attacking.
Yep.
Totally cool. And I'm wondering what the thing with her and the if the her and the elder lady's gonna mean anything for the story, or if that's just for the trailer. But yeah, I don't know, because NeoWiz is not one of those devs that I think people know from a lot of stuff. So if they can really knock this out of the park, I think it could really help their level. Give them a lot more notoriety for
Right.
one. So yeah, I any thoughts on the game in general, or like anything you liked about it, or
Which game? Sorry.
the Liza P?
Oh yeah, I said it earlier. Yeah, it looked cool. Uh, I mean, it looks like Dark Souls. American McGee's Alice or something. Or
Yeah, that I like that, like sort of like a
it looked.
darker
It
Victorian
did look
thing.
more kind of action focused than like a typical Demon Souls or Dark Souls, at least.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, I'm sure I may play it. I know Yen will play it. I'll be curious if you play it, like if you can get into it or not.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely be checking out this on Game Pass. But yeah, I'm hoping that it's one that I will keep going with and liking, because a lot of the Dark Souls ones I don't.
Right.
So another one that I thought was interesting was the Atlas Falling. At least the trailer looked kind of cool.
Yeah.
Had sort of like a old Assassin's Creed vibe, sort of, with the hooded people. Um, I don't know what you think. That's the
That
one where like they're in the desert and
Yeah, that was a sand one,
yeah,
right? Yeah,
yeah.
they should Ubisoft should just buy it and call it Prince of Persia, or Princess of Persia, really.
Right, yeah.
Uh,
Um,
we missed that stranded alien Dawn thing for a second.
yeah,
I wanted to like that until I saw the gameplay, and it's like, oh, it's a survival game, or it's like and then I was like, no.
yeah,
I thought if it was something going to be like Returnal or something like action adventure or something, I'd be like, all right, I'm on board. But you know, having to like cultivate crops and build walls and shit. I'm like, nope, I'm good.
Yeah, you're like, I'm good. I thought about that too. I was like, I wonder if this is the one that Mark likes, and there you go. You gave me
the FMV was, or the opening cinematic was.
We got both of the Genshin Impact devs, the Honkai Star Rail, and more Genshin Impact stuff. I'm kind of intrigued with the Honkai Star Rail premise, but if it's very much like Genshin Impact, then that's going to be a no for me because I'm not with the gacha stuff.
Right.
No doubt that they have come upon a great premise or whatever.
Addiction.
Yeah.
Or
yeah, I mean, at least with like the setup of having the anime aesthetic and then just saying, okay, cool, here we are. What there was a lot in here.
That Scars Above game is the Eternal game I was thinking of.
Yeah, okay, that's what that was.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting. I mean, hopefully it's good.
What'd you think of the Killer Clowns from Outer Space getting a game after?
Who cares?
Yeah,
like, I mean, what's next? Attack of the Killer Tomatoes? Another Plants vs Zombies thing. I would have more excitement, but they're like, oh, it's another. I don't know if it's 4v1, but another multiplayer shooter. And it's like, yo, I'm tired of this. Please stop it.
Yeah, it feels like they're trying to bring that back now, and it's one of those where I don't know that we need to like go that route yet. We don't have enough games that are really doing this where they're doing the Dead by Daylight and everybody's knocking out of the park. I think you still have a lot more failures than.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, the most I would care about is that Evil Dead one because they have some type of single player, but I've heard it's like really messed up or hard, like basically like impossible to do. So I'd say that's great.
Yeah. There's what was it as well? The Fallout and Skyrim devs making the new RPG. What's it called? Weird Song.
Yeah, they had a really bad font, so
yeah, you couldn't tell what it's supposed to say, but interesting, at least.
Yeah.
We talked about Gotham Knights. Age of Empires 4 got 2 new classes, and there's also rumors that it's going to be on Xbox at some point. They still haven't officially announced that yet. Hey, and Hideo Kojima is going to have his own podcast now.
Yeah, I mean, a new rule: if you're going to have these conventions or these expos, unless that dude is going to show a game or show a trailer, he should not be invited.
Yeah. Not with
yeah, that's the problem. It's
not with Keighley though.
Yeah, they're all like buddy,
and
it's like, oh, we need Hideo Kojima to be out to waste everyone's time for a minute or two. It's like, I'm surprised you didn't start talking about it like his new leather jacket or something. I mean, say what you want, and he is a creep and somewhat bad character, but at least when like Randy Pitchford was on stage, he announced a fucking game. He didn't say, look, I'm going to do a magic show for 5 minutes and waste everyone's time.
Yeah. At least it was quick, right? It was like
it was only like 30 seconds or like barely a minute, but still, it's like quit teasing the audience. I know you think you're like some great, avant-garde director or whatever, but you're not.
Yeah, it was pretty just an ad for Spotify. Let's be real. So
plus, it's like, he can't speak English, or he can't. Like, how listenable is this going to be to like the Western audience?
Well, I mean, I'm sure he will have someone
Well, have a
that can
translator,
speak
or I mean, yeah,
English.
but like,
Yeah,
believe me, it's not going to be what everyone thinks, what everyone wants it to be. Like, let's say that.
yeah. Uh, what did you think of the not roller coaster tycoon,
That
but Park
that actually looks kind
Beyond?
of cool.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think I'll like it just because I just can't get into those games. But it looked like a
yeah,
more like fantastical version of Planet Coaster. But like the trailer was weird because they only showed like the actual designing for like a second, and then they had that weird like meeting with like them designing this like roller coaster with like playground shapes or like just like cardboard and shit like that. And it's like, is this how it's gonna be like in the game, or like why are you showing this? Like, why don't you just show off like the actual in-game editor for like a minute, and that would have been fine.
I mean, they kind of did. Like,
Yeah, like briefly though, like the clubhouse or like the marketing or the advertising department, thing was like a lot more of it. We missed or you missed when that where winds meet game. That was really cool actually.
yeah, the medieval
The
China
Chinese,
game. Yeah, that looked
yeah.
really good too. I guess it's like action based or
Well, it looked like a much faster and like much more I wouldn't say like entirely supernatural, but like a much more slightly supernatural version of like Ghost of Tsushima.
yeah.
Because you're at one point you're facing this like big. It's not like a monster, but like this big ogre looking dude or whatever. So that looked interesting. And like you're like running across the water,
Oh, the one across the water part was like, oh, all right. This is pretty awesome here. There's, you know,
At one point you
I
turn at one point you turn into Sonic the Hedgehog, and
no, and who knows if there's gonna be like it looks like there's some story to this, perhaps.
I mean, it looks like you're
So
probably trying to get those 7 or whatever those swords and that fall from the sky, and that one lady is like your nemesis or one of them at least.
yeah, yeah, I love the part where he's like running at the ship and everything else.
Yeah,
We'll have to see how much is in this, apart from the where they actually fight each other. But it looks really good, and I'm sure that they will show more of it throughout the week because it was probably one of the better games shown off here.
yeah,
And another game that I thought was pretty interesting as well was the Phantom Hellcat with the like sort of like 2D 3D hybrid hack and slash combat. Always down for those games. So
yeah. It's
yes.
okay. Yeah,
You got another Word Tide 40K Dark Hammer trailer. That recently got delayed. We talked about it. They showed off that Dwarf Romantic coming to Switch pretty briefly. Uh, and then Blacktail, which has the where you're whether you're the good or the bad witch. And then Outlast Trials, which looks certainly rather outlasty. I was freaked out by parts of it.
yeah,
And then we talked about Dead Island 2, and that was the sort of the one more thing deal.
yeah. That was the last thing they showed because they've been wanting it for 20,
Yeah, and
10
then
years now.
it also leaked earlier, so it makes sense that they wanted to kind of showcase that. That's also coming in February as well. I think like a week before. What was the game that Hogwarts? So it'll
Right.
be interesting if all these games stick to their release date, if that's coming or not. Um, but overall, I thought the show was good. It wasn't great. It wasn't a snooze fest. Everything kind of kept going pretty quick. They didn't blast it out with ads. They had the one like Red Bull ones and stuff like that, but it wasn't like, oh my god, this is an ad fest, you know.
Right.
They didn't. He like introduced most of the trailers, so it wasn't like, oh, here's 5 trailers in a row, and then he comes out and says something else. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
he was there for like, I don't know, 75% of it.
yeah,
That woman was there for only like 25, and
yeah,
Mint's
or
only there
less
for
than
2.
that. Yeah,
Yeah, she was only like there
um,
for like, she announced like 1 or 2 trailers, but she was mainly there for like the award stuff.
the award stuff exactly. I thought he did a really good job of not overdoing it with the devs as well, because as much as you want to hear them talk, you also don't want it to be too much.
Right.
On these like, you know, E3 type shows, it's like you just want the trailers and the gameplay and to be able to see that stuff yourself. You know, that's what Gamescom is for. You can then watch the individual games that you're interested in. And if you
Well,
want to hear the devs talk about it, you can, you know.
at no point did Glenn Schofield flip off the camera, so that was good.
Yeah, that's true too. At least he didn't do that. So there's also, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'd say I'd probably give it like a B minus. You know.
Yeah, I was just gonna go with a firm just C. It was way better than Summer Games Fest.
Yeah.
You know, it would be nice if he had a way to sort of distance these out a little bit more. I get what he's going for, but it's like you have the summer one, and then like 2 months later you have this, and then you have Game Awards at the end.
Right.
It would be good if he could have one like in March or something.
Well, that's what happens when he took over. I mean,
yeah. Like where there's like at least space between where you could be like, oh, they really could have had dev time with these games. You know, but for what it is, I thought it was pretty good and an enjoyable show. It didn't feel like some of these that he's done, oh my, by that like hour and a half mark, you're going, oh my god, I still got an hour of this. Like,
right.
This one did not feel that way. I didn't feel the 2 hours and 15 minutes or whatever. So good on Geoff for learning and taking feedback and taking it to the heart there.
Yeah.
So another one of those, this basically happened like after we did the episode. Embracer Group just decides to buy a bunch of crap at like midnight is when the announcements started hitting Eastern time. So the big thing is that they now own Middle Earth Enterprises, which they own basically the IP rights to everything Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit except for the books. So yeah, I mean that's a pretty huge thing in itself. This also includes that Rings of Power show that's about to debut on Amazon. And then you have limited run games as well, Tuxedo Labs.
Yeah, that was kind of, well, Lord of the Rings is obviously the big one culture wise, but the limited run is kind of the big one to me personally.
Yeah, because it's going to be interesting. Like they've already kind of started expanding beyond just like, okay, the obscure indie game that, you know, doesn't have a physical release to like, now we're doing this with a lot more games. Like, are they going to even expand this even further now, or are they just buying it and letting them do their own thing? Like, what are they going? That's the interesting one, I think, to me. Like, what are they going to do with that?
I think a lot of companies like limited run, at least initially, because they were independent.
Right.
You know, like Konami, for example. Like, it'll be interesting to see if, they still have those relationships going forward. Or like, EA. Like,
No, yeah. This is one of those I think people are going to be watching closely, like what happens to Limited Run once they like actually officially own it, and what Embracer Group will do. Obviously, Embracer Group now has to figure out like everything for the Lord of the Rings. They were talking about possibly doing like solo movies with, Gandalf and Erwin and other characters. I mean, would you want to see that?
No, I don't want to see that fucking Gollum game.
No, yeah, the Gollum game I don't have a lot of faith in, but
I mean, it's a problem of, Tolkien only wrote, he only wrote 4 books, and they keep mining it to death. Oh, I wrote this one sentence in the 3rd book. Let's build a show around it. It's like, or not. Like,
yeah, I mean, and then when you also have like movies that were pretty much just amazing,
the perfect adaptation,
like, so like, what are you gonna do with that?
And then you had 3 more movies that weren't the perfect adaptation, but they're still reasonably okay.
Right, exactly.
Once you edit it down correctly. I mean, I guess there are just more. I mean, there are more fantasy books or fantasy series out there, that have a lot more material to deal with that could be bought for a lot less money than, Lord of the Rings. The Lord of the Rings has obviously the big name attached to it, but it's such I think like a creatively like shallow thing to try to keep going back to. And that when Rings of Power crashes and burns, you'll.
You think that's what's gonna happen? You don't have any faith in it at all?
I mean, Yen's is all pumped up because the soundtrack is great, but like that's his sole reason for watching the damn show, and I'm like, that's not enough of a reason for anyone sane. Like the fact that this thing has no big names attached to it, has a lot of good or not woke politics involved in it, and that it's involving characters that no one, like, they're just making up shit along the way. No.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm interested in it. I'll probably watch a few episodes, see how it goes, and then go from there. I'm not like the biggest Lord of the Rings person, but I like the movies well enough, and always wanting to give something. Yeah,
wouldn't it be great if the cast from those were in this thing?
I mean, if you're Amazon, do you really want to pay all those people that much money?
You're Amazon. You have that, yes. Like,
no, but I think it's just everybody wants to. Nobody else wants to do the Disney thing of let's pay these people to be in the show and the movie.
Yeah, and then everyone wonders why Disney then is like the #1 rated entertainment, powerhouse. Because they spend the money,
Right. I mean, it's like, oh, WB, we don't want to have the same actors be in the movie as they are the ones in the TV show, or they're not even going to run in the same universe. So, whatever, they're not going to tie together at all. So, yeah. Well, we'll see. Tripwire Interactive, who are known, I guess, most recently for Maneater and Killing Floor. They also had the terrible, was it like manager that was
the CEO, here's a big anti-abortion nut that they quickly fired or quickly asked to step aside.
Thank God. So now Embracer owns them. They own a company called Centrix that is mostly known for like karaoke stuff. Their first Japanese studio, Tatsujin, which is founded by the Toaplan's co-founder. They are like they make shoot 'em up games. Bitwave Games, which is a Swedish studio. They make kind of like retro type games. Geotech, and then another company within the PC console gaming that they could not disclose, but it was the third or fourth, up there with the third or fourth of these transactions. They're also out, launching Embracer Free Mode, which is going to focus on retro, classic, and heritage gaming categories.
That's what some of like the more lesser known stuff is going to like fall underneath umbrella was.
And then I saw someone post that they have like, what is it, 250 studios? Or is
I
it
think it was like
games in
12,
development?
I think it was like 12,000 employees. I don't know how many like actual studios they have, because it's not like they own 250 developers. But you know, a
Yeah,
lot,
but
even like half of this shit you just listed isn't like game development per se.
yeah,
Like
no, but I mean,
Syntrix is like vocal processing or an audio company. It's like their stuff may be in games, but they're not making games.
yeah, it was something that I saw that I was like, okay, no, they have 120 game development studios,
Yeah.
230 games in development, a stable of 850 IPs, and they have more than 12,750 employees in more than 40 countries.
Right.
Wow. Like, they are quickly like buying themselves into, well, I mean, they've already bought themselves into the industry, but like they're pretty much buying themselves into being one of the biggest.
Speaking of that, because we talked about it briefly like last week, that PlayOn or Koch Media Group, whatever the fuck they're called now they are owned by Embracer. Like,
yeah, they are. It's just I think the PR people that work with
yeah, they like
one
to
of
like
those was different.
really separate it out or like keep it segmented. But yeah, like Embracer, I mean, strictly IP wise or even flight development wise, they're probably like the biggest company.
Yeah, I mean,
But
Tencent, I think
Tencent is bigger from a financial standpoint,
right?
but like they only make it like they don't own a ton of developers. But the problem,
Well, Tencent just owns like parts of certain developers as well.
Yeah, they don't.
Like,
They just they don't like own a ton of people outright. But the problem with this Embracer thing is a lot of their games just aren't good, or like aren't as good
they
as
have
they
a
should
lot of the AA, and then they wind up being the AA games where they're like kind of okay.
If that, because look at like Saints Row, like
yeah, I mean Saints Row is supposed to be a AAA game that was made in a AA way, and look what you got out of it.
I saw some review. I think it might have been Ars Technica, or I think it might have been like some YouTuber also. But they pointed out that like the game just looks and feels cheap. Like the YouTuber I was watching, who's going through this mission where he's like, infiltrating this like enemy base, and there's like no music going on at all. And like that was one of the standouts of Saints Row 3 and 4. Like not every mission, but like the key missions had like Kanye West Power playing, or holding out for a hero, or Saints Row 4 also had some like really great music, and this thing just has like nothing.
Like, what do you think we can expect at all from like them owning the Lord of the Rings IP? Do you think we will see those solo movies? Do you think that now we're going to see more Lord of the Rings games? I mean, what?
Games for sure. I mean, that Gollum game is damn near done, or probably almost done. I just don't. I don't know. I think movies would be really bad. Let's just say that. And they already have this Amazon show, so they can't make another one of those. I mean, make another Lord of the Rings cartoon.
There's that.
Or make like another good Mordor game.
Yeah, I could see them doing that. I'm not like I said, I'm not a big Lord of the Rings person, so I'm not even gonna start imagining what they could be doing with that. But it's just such a huge thing that they own that now. Like, I really want to see what they're. Hopefully, they're going to be selective and really take their time about what they're going to do, and not just license out
Or they're going to
this
Star Wars it and just shit out as much as they can as quickly as
yeah,
possible.
like don't do that. Um, but I mean, what do you think from this purchase? I guess anything stand out to you as far as like what they could do with what that studio does, or?
I know Limited Run has had some issues recently with like
Yeah, they keep
production.
delaying.
Yeah, so if they
Yeah.
got that squared away, that would be good. I mean, I'm sure a lot more of their games will have like bigger special editions, or they'll have a part. They'll have a part of it.
Right. I mean, if you look at it right now, like they're still taking pre-orders on Azure Striker Gunvolt 3's physical, Doom 64 getting a physical like special edition thing, Shantae's like 20th anniversary statue with the with the games, like all that stuff still has pre-orders outstanding. And then there's other stuff that they're done doing the pre-orders, they just can't get the production done.
Well, I pre-ordered something, that Castlevania thing, but they didn't have like a release date or even like a hopeful announce date. So
yeah,
I mean that'd be nice, or just getting that more on track.
I think at one point Tripwire had announced that they were making a Man-Eater 2, or
yeah, because that game did pretty well, or surprisingly well.
Yeah. They also published Chivalry 2, which I think is their most recent one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, they don't have the greatest track record for, they kind of, if you're looking at sort of like based on review scores, I guess their highest rated games are the Rising Storm series, and then their first game, I think Red Orchestra. Yeah, I think like the Killing Floor games kind of do okay. Man-Eater was sort of well accepted, and then it was one of the first games that was on the new consoles as well, so that helped it. Yeah, we'll have to see if they make anything else in the other studios. I mean, that's the thing, is like Embracer buys a lot of these like smaller studios, and then
right, that's why they had like the huge IP thing, or huge,
and then you don't hear much from them, and then all of a sudden, we're making this, and like we saw that a little bit with the opening night lives, some of the Embracer stuff.
Well, they do the They do the really bad thing where like they announce a game and then they're like, we're gonna announce the game, and then we have like the $90 special edition, and then like the $250 like super limited edition. But they do it for like games that no one gives a shit about, or that that of course no one's gonna buy that. Like Destroy All Humans, like they had like the super deluxe version of that, and like Darksiders 3, like the $400 version. It's like, are you guys high? Like, I mean, those games aren't, even if the games were good and they weren't, or they weren't like the best ever, like who's buying this? Like,
I guess they're thinking they can either use them as like an internal studio to help somebody else, or just maybe they'll get them to make their own IP. I don't know, but it's just like, man, you're like, think about it. They have 11 operating groups within all these studios now. Like, damn, like that's a lot. It's just, how much are you going to be able to get all of these 230 games in development? How many of those are actually going to be hits and not just things that come out and then nobody talks about them?
I mean, the funny thing, I'm looking at their like Wikipedia kind of info right now. They have a ton of assets and a ton of equity, but they have like almost no income.
Yeah, they gotta be in a lot of freaking debt.
Yeah.
At this point, like, because it's just wow.
And it's not like all their games hit it out of the park. Like if anything, very few of their games actually do. So it's like, what are you guys doing? Like you're buying this song company. It's like, are they gonna put you on the map? Like, really?
Yeah, I mean, so like their next game, I think that they're doing is the Destroy All Humans 2,
Right.
right? Which good lord.
I mean, that'll sell at, I would say, at most 100,000 copies.
Yeah. They're doing the THQ Nordic doing that AEW game.
I mean, reviews will be the determining factor. That may sell well. Who knows?
Yeah, and then you have, I mean,
their latest game, Saints Row, ain't gonna do it.
Yeah, exactly. Saints Row. I mean, Saints Row will probably get people that, because I'm already seeing it. People that are like, oh well, this game is just getting panned by critics, and
but it's a lot of the same critics who reviewed the last ones and liked them, so it's not like the critics are new or they changed.
Yeah, it's not like they're being I
mean, I saw Dan Reichert's Twitter thread. He was like, yeah, at a certain point the game bugged out on me and destroyed all my progress, including all of my previous saved progress as well. That's bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I can forgive a game like a mission bugging out, like your main save, but like if it affects all of your actual like your previous manual saves, that's fucked up.
Yeah, it's just not positive.
And the other weird thing about Saints Row to me, I don't know, did you read any of the reviews or no?
I read like some, and I listened to some reviews.
The thing I kept seeing was like them pointing out like, oh, there's so much customization. Like you can customize every car, and like you can create your boss character to wear anything and do anything, or And I'm just thinking, that's been in every goddamn Saints Row game. Like that's not new, you idiots. Like they may have added more options, but like it's always been there.
Yeah, and then also just I hear a lot of like great things about it has wonderful accessibility and all this stuff, but then it's like, well, it's very generic, it's very old style.
I heard it's also like extremely empty, which made me think of like Fallout New Vegas. Actually,
a lot of people didn't like the characters.
I can't comment on them. I mean, the reviews weren't particularly kind to most of the your the new gang, I guess. But like, like I them having accessibility options, like you can better, you can adjust the difficulty of the enemies. It's like, okay, but is the game fun, or does it control well, or is it not buggy? Like, because those are more important to me than having a colorblind mode or something like that,
Yeah.
But I guess that's enough of that because we haven't played it and we're not going to get it for review, obviously. So.
No, I tried, and that was. I mean, there was a lot of people they just told no to.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Because they were trying to obviously
mitigate
control the narrative.
Yeah.
Of what they're. Man, I don't know why it's so hard to find a list of games that are being made by this company. Like, nobody seems to have a.
They're pretty shadowy, or they don't like to, they're not flashy like Activision or EA or Ubisoft.
Like I only know, they had that Endling game is from them. It's from THQ Nordic. The AEW game, and then the Straw Humans that's about to come out.
Yeah.
But like, if you sit there and you can't just be like, oh, I want to find out what games are being made by Embracer Group, it's like you can't. They don't just
Right.
have that available, and it's so weird compared to other companies that you can go on, like the company's website, and it's there,
Yeah.
and so it's no, because I keep thinking that they don't own Focus Home. Focus Home is another company that owns a bunch of other companies. Like they actually own .mu.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think after Destroy All Humans, that's kind of it for a little bit.
Right.
Until, yeah, because they don't. Yeah, because Funcom is owned by somebody else, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but still, this is something that I'm sure we will hear more about it as like time goes on, because they have to go through the whole closing and everything else, and then like they just bought all those Western studios from Square Enix, so it's
Yeah.
like, man, they're just sitting here buying up stuff. And
I mean, they eventually got Tomb Raider, and that'll probably be pretty good, but that's a year or two out at least.
yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, well, that will be a little while before we get that, I'm sure, as well. But moving along from this thing here, the talking about the Embracer stuff. Oh wow, forgot I had that Saints Row stuff still going. So yeah, well, we should have talked about this before I ended it. They did officially move the KOTOR remake from Aspire or Asper Media to Saber Interactive. So hopefully Saber, who has a better track record in making
I mean,
games, can
that's debatable, but hopefully.
at least in making like original games, not Asper's used. Asper Aspire, however you want to say it, is used to like making a lot of games that, oh, we're only having to like remaster them,
Right.
or port them or whatever. Like Saber actually, they made your SnowRunner game.
Yeah,
So,
and they also made WWE 2K Battlegrounds.
yeah, well,
Hmm.
they can't win them all. They also made those other 2K basketball games, which they were kind of
You
okay.
you wanted to like.
Yeah, I wanted to
You were
like,
fooling
and
yourself into liking them, but
yeah, and not. So, speaking of Avalanche Studios, which, oh no, they're not part of that Embracer thing, right? Or
they
are
might,
they?
they may be. Who knows? I mean,
I thought it was only IDOS, Crystal Dynamics, and Montreal, but I don't know if they're gonna try to sell these as well. But apparently, according to the co-founder of Liquid Swords, Christopher Sundberg, who worked at Avalanche Studios, there was an Iron Man game that was in development for 2 years, and then it was canceled.
I knew about this years ago. Actually, this is kind of an
Yeah.
open secret. 'Cause it wasn't John Vignacchi, but it was another Disney employee who told me about it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was like very much like Just Cause 2 or something like that. And you could like fly around, and he said like there's like some substance in Marvel games for a little while called ISO 8. It was like part of like the Facebook game also, but it's like some like alien like power source or something. And like you would collect that in the game to like upgrade your suit. So yeah, I mean, I don't talk to him anymore either, but he said he saw like a playable build of that game on like his like PS3 or like a PS3 copy of it.
Yeah.
Which would be cool. I would like to play that, or
I mean, it would have been cool to have an Iron Man game at that point, but not at the risk of what they're talking about here, where it would have broken the studio completely because Disney wanted it to come out faster.
Right. But then it's funny because then they made that like, I don't know when he said this was actually going to happen. But then Sega made that Iron Man 2 game.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, way to go,
Yeah.
If you want to.
Right. Yeah. It's crazy to hear that this was happening at one point, but man.
Here's the bummer part. They can make that game now and it'd still be good. Or
yeah.
Or remake it for PS4, PS5 and Xbox stuff, but that like Iron Man is a very good hero to base a game around.
Yeah.
Not Superman, or
yeah, not Superman. Yeah, definitely not.
But
I mean, it'd be cool if they could make it, but
yeah,
the fact that now you don't really have any of his movies coming out, so.
Well, yeah, but also you don't have to tie. Like, if that's the case, don't tie it into the MCU. Just make an Iron Man game.
I would hope they wouldn't, but knowing Disney, where they want to tie everything into the MCU.
Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, it's one. Although, like, they're getting away from that just like a tad, I think, or not. Look at like that Avengers game.
Yeah, but that's only because they couldn't.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and they couldn't afford the actors.
Or even Guardians of the Galaxy, though. I mean, yeah. Same thing.
Fair enough. I mean, yeah, this is a different time, though, right? Like, this is before I think they finally got settled, and this is when Disney was making those mistakes with games still. Never forget the Ultimate Capcom 3, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, all that.
No, that was a good one. It was Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. That was a bad one.
Oh, Infinite. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Do you know of a guy named Maximilian Dude?
Yes.
He said recently, like, or he put up a video recently about like with the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 1-up cabinet, like that's going to be the end of Marvel vs. Capcom. And it's like, you're the guy saying 4 years ago or 5 years ago that Capcom was going to relaunch Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, and they're going to add Doctor Doom and all these X-Men characters and all this other shit. That didn't happen. Like, why would I believe you now? Like, really? Like,
I mean, he could be right. I don't know. Like Disney playing. I mean, Disney's done a lot of stuff with Capcom recently, so
that's why I also don't think like Marvel vs. Capcom. Marvel vs. Capcom is dead. Like, that's still a healthy enough relationship,
Yeah, so, but I think people would have to really clamor for it.
Right.
Like, it's not something where Disney's going to be like, oh, where's the next Marvel vs. Capcom coming?
Well, that's why I think just putting, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 on current consoles would be good enough. Here you go. Or like fixing up the art a little, or like doing if they really want to spend the money doing an HD remaster. But that's it, because they have proven that they can't. I mean, I like Marvel vs. Capcom 3 quite a bit, but Infinite proved they can't make a current one.
Yeah, no. Let's keep them away from that, quite honestly. So this, I don't think I have anything else Disney here that I know of. So talking about sales for a little bit here, we do have the MPD for July. Multiversus, which is actually free to play, but because the Founders Pack costs between $40 to $100, it's the number one game for July, based on people buying the Founders Pack. Elden Ring is still number 2. Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga 3, and Xenoblade Chronicles 3, which this doesn't include digital sales, and it only counts for 2 days out of the month, or 3, I guess. It's at number 4. That's pretty good for that series. Very excited to see that. And then Digimon Survive being there at 8. That's pretty good for it as well, considering the reviews weren't kind, even though, to be fair, most of them were, because a lot of people didn't get the fact that it's supposed to be a mostly visual novel with strategy RPG gameplay.
Yeah.
That's their fault for not paying attention before you ask to review something, but also I do think Bandai Namco kind of shorted people on the marketing. They didn't market this game very much, and they certainly were not letting any reviews come out before it was time. So there's something to be said for that as well. I'm not a proponent for that, and never will be. I think you should let people know, what people think about the game beforehand. That's only fair, really. So yeah, I mean, if looking at like the rest of the stuff, it's mostly the pretty much the usual suspects, quite frankly. So don't really need to go much over that, but good to see that those games are all doing well. Speaking of paying, Blizzard says that they will not be making Diablo 4 pay to win. I mean, also at that point, it would fall under Microsoft, which Saudi Arabia became the first group to okay the merger or the acquisition. So you would think that the rest of them are going to follow suit here, but we'll see. But yeah, they're saying that it's not going to be pay to win. I'm sure there will be microtransactions, but do you believe them on this?
The guy claims that it's going to be cosmetics for like microtransactions, probably like wings or like armor sets or something. I believe him in that respect, but I'm pretty sure this game's also going to have an auction house.
We'll see. They didn't do that well with the auction house and Diablo 3. So.
Yeah, but Immortal has one.
Yeah, but Immortal's different, I think, in that they're wanting you to make transactions all the time in that game. So,
yeah.
People are mostly, I think, worried about as well because of the new season mode. It's going to require you to have a new character every season. Are people going to want to? Yeah.
What they should do, I mean, I understand that kind of to a degree. I mean, Diablo 3 has seasons also.
Right.
But, it just gets, it gets overwhelming at a certain point. Because, I mean, I don't know about you. I like to have, like, one character in a game, and that's it.
Yeah, for these games, like you're saying, most people like to have that one character that you spec and just keep making stronger. Maybe you have that second one or something, but usually you don't have like
6 characters,
exactly
9 seasons and then 9 characters or whatever. Or
normally you don't have like exactly like you said, like a bunch of characters, and then like what are you gonna do with all these characters? By the way, like,
well, I mean, I don't know about this game, but like Diablo 3 has like a 12 character limit, I think. So
yeah. We'll have to see how they figure this out, but interesting that this is what they're going to do. Hopefully, there's not pay to win like they say it's not going to be, and we keep it at that.
Again, I don't think it'll be like to that degree, but I think it might have an auction house, and that'll inflame people.
Right.
And even if it doesn't, we'll see. Or there'll still be a black market for shit. Let's say that.
Yeah, for sure. SEGA is doing a lot of stuff here. Some of it has to do with their Genesis Mini 2. They released all of the games that are going to be on it. They did announce that it's going to have 1/10 the supply of the Genesis Mini because of the ongoing semiconductor shortage. I'm not listing out all these games. It's a lot.
No, yeah. I mean, I just put it there, but like, it's all like the shit that like not a lot of people care about, or like that only Genesis nerds will give a shit about, like Herzog's Vi and Rystar and Splatterhouse 2.
Feed and Splatterhouse 2.
I mean, it has a bunch
Yeah.
of it has about 10 Sega CD games on it, which is kind of cool. But
Yeah. Two of them are Echo the Dolphin. Yeah.
It's not the Japanese version has a lot better Sega CD games.
Yeah.
Which is
you are getting Night Trap, I guess, if you want to go in there. It is including Sewer Shark, which I mentioned they really did need to include in there, and Sonic CD. So,
yeah. I mean, the biggest omissions is like Lunar 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Which came out in America. Like, it's not like you have to like retranslate those games. Like, you could find out whoever owns Working Designs, rent like corpse, and pay them some money or whatever. But I mean, ditch the Ninja Warriors or Mansion of Hidden Souls, which I've never fucking heard of before, and put those games on there, or one of the Echo games because you don't need two of them, or any of them.
Yeah, it would be cool if they could include those Lunar games for sure. But sadly,
I'll say it: the Sega CD was not good in the first place. Like, Sonic CD was cool. Like, that's actually one of the better ones. But that's about it. And I say that as someone who owned a Sega CD. Like, Sewer Shark sucked ass.
Right. Yeah, it's good that this is happening. It's good that there's another Sega Genesis Mini 2. And there'll be definitely some great games for you to check out on there. Could have been some better selections for sure.
Because we're going to talk about this in a second, but they need to make a Dreamcast Mini. And just put like a retro Pi in it with like a 32 gigabyte flash card and go, here you go. Your 25 second Dreamcast games. Knock yourself out.
Will they do it though?
No.
Will they do it? That's the thing. I don't think so. That's the problem. That being said, apparently we are gonna get a Comix Zone and Space Channel 5 movie from Sega. Like,
that's cool. I don't think it'll actually happen. But Comix Zone could be really neat, and so could Space Channel 5.
Yeah, I mean, Comix Zone, like, really, they could do a lot with there. It always gives me like the Mighty Max?
Yeah,
vibes as well. From when I was a kid watching that show. So
Comix Zone was like a tad older, but I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it could be really cool what they could do with it. It has its own world, so I
mean, also Comix Zone is it's one game. It has like barely an idea, or like guy gets sucked into his comic, so you can do whatever as long as you still have that idea. So yeah, go for it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's basically like Beautiful Joe.
That too. It could. I just hope that they actually try to. I don't know how they could do the aesthetic with having the comic book and everything, but it'd be cool if they could do it.
I mean, cell shading or like rotoscoping, like that Scanner Darkly movie. I actually wouldn't do that. I just have it be all live action.
Oh no, I agree. They did some of that like in Miss Marvel, where they had it like some kind of like comic book effects or whatever in there. Space Channel 5, interesting as well. Like, they definitely could make that. I just want to see what they would do with that. Like, I mean,
I forget. I mean, I forget who there was some dancer I liked, but should have been like a good ooh la la. Like the casting of ooh la la is like the most important part of that thing.
Yeah.
And then having like that kind of that funky aesthetic and like that type of music, but I could work. I mean, they have Sega at this point has a better track record of fucking movies than Nintendo does. So
that's true. I mean, yeah, the game is something else for sure. How they're gonna translate it into a movie,
I mean,
you know?
it's. I actually don't think that's a problem. Like, just have
Yeah,
aliens invade the space station, and you're kind of just like the Ula's just kind of dancing around and shooting them and like rescuing people.
right.
Like, I mean, the game itself is already like a glorified movie. So,
That's true. Yeah, yeah. I've always liked the Space Channel 5 games, so I'll be down for a movie. Like you said, though, it all depends on who you cast as Ulala, and then it goes from there. Kind of. Um, yeah, it's. I just want again, like what their concept is going to be with this. It's going to be interesting. Can they actually do this? But no, that's the thing is with Sonic, you kind of have like an idea. Sonic obviously has a bit more of a story because he's had comics and everything else, and TV and cartoon shows. But like you're taking something that doesn't have much of a story and then having to create your own. Let's see what they can do with this. Whereas Sony is going the other route where you have this full fledged game with Days Gone. They don't want to do a Days Gone 2 game,
yeah, which is
but
funny.
then we're doing a Days Gone movie. And apparently the devs don't like the idea of who they could cast as the main characters.
Unknown British guy, or what else?
Yeah, I don't
What was
know.
what's his name? Charlie Hunnam Too Busy.
I guess so. He was. Um, I mean, that'd be cool if they could get him, but I don't think they would.
I think he is. I think he is done with biker shit for the
Yeah.
time being.
Um, so like, do you think that this could be a good movie though? Like
The
as somebody
days
that played the game and
the Days Gone thing. I mean,
yeah,
maybe, but it's funny to say this. Days Gone has a more shallow premise than Comix Zone. And
I mean, it's a zombie movie. It's
bear in mind, Comix Zone has a premise of like a paragraph. At the
right.
start, that's about it. This Days Gone is just so generic of biker. I mean, they're basically like Easy Rider with bikers, and it's like, oh god.
I mean, but they can make a movie out of that though. Like, I could totally see them ripping the marriage scene for the movie as well, just because they think it would be a great laugh or something. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, I'm not one that's like played much of the game to be able to comment, but it. I right now, I watched Uncharted. I thought it was actually pretty good. I didn't, it helps a lot that you have two really great actors as well,
But
playing the two main roles. So
I mean, who's the other one besides Tom Holland?
I'm a big fan of Mark Wahlberg, so that's me. But
Uh,
you know,
when he tries, he can be fine, but he plays like that type of character 90% of the time. So,
yeah, it is true. But the more interesting one perhaps is Gravity Rush, which is a series that like Sony has kind of just basically abandoned because apparently it doesn't sell well enough, and then you're gonna make a movie.
yeah.
So, I mean, what do you?
I mean, I
Yeah,
don't remember enough of Gravity Rush's. I just know like she can fly around. That's kind of about it.
right.
So, uh, it could be cool, but again, I just don't really know.
Yeah, I mean, it was a game that people really enjoyed,
It's
and
not enough to keep going.
yeah, it's not enough to keep going, and then um, that's the thing is, unfortunately, yeah, I mean, she does fly around. She had there's the unique like enemies and everything, which would make a like for a good movie as well. Um, yeah, I want to see what they would do with it, but like right now, as long as if somebody's doing it themselves and they're bringing respect to the property, then that's all that kind of matters, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of like crazy to see like Sony's just going all in on this with between making shows and movies. They showed a little bit of the Last of Us show for HBO like last week. And then you have like them taking all these games to PC. So, and Sony is really going the multimedia route now of just going to everything. So it's actually kind of interesting to see Sony just taking this avenue.
Also, that Twisted Metal game.
The Twist of the show.
Yeah, movie. Yeah, show. Sorry.
That one, I don't. That one's just gonna be, I don't know, like they're trying to make it a comedy, and okay, well, we'll see, I guess. Um, you know, right now, like who they have directing it is, yeah, it's interesting as well. So, yeah, we'll see as time gets closer for both of these if they announce anything, and if these rumors are actually wind up happening for sure. The PSVR 2 is also rumored to come out early next year. Now, Sony themselves announced it on their Instagram. Uh, what do you think? I mean,
I barely paid attention. So I mean,
yeah, I
until they show gameplay, until they show actual tech specs, until they show price.
Well, the price is what's going to matter. Until they show the price, none of this matters, because if it's $500, I think that's going to really lower the expectations for people in wanting to buy it.
Yeah.
So because if you're going to say it's going to cost the same as the console, man, that's steep.
Yeah, well, the MSRP of the console at least, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but you have to have the console. So let's say you have this come out, you're still going to have a lot of people that don't have the console.
Yeah.
So you have that issue, and then it's like, oh, yeah, it's here's this, so.
I mean, I understand why they want to get it out as early as they do, but solving the supply issue of the PS5 itself seems more important.
Right.
Like, I don't know about you, I have yet to see a PS5 on a store shelf new.
They've been getting it out more. I haven't seen it either.
See, they have said like, GameStop will have them, or just or sign up for Sony's website, or that their queue system or whatever. But I'm talking like you go into a Walmart, you go into a Best Buy, and just seeing like 2 or 3 of them for sale, and they still don't have that. Now, Microsoft, like, they aren't as bad. Like, I've certainly seen a ton of Series S's and occasional Series X's for sale, but I'm talking like I've never seen a PS5 for sale in either form. And I would say that's more important, getting the fucking system out, than pushing out this thing, which is probably not going to do well, or probably not going to do well for a long time. Because just there aren't that many PS5s out there, and I think some people were pretty burned on the first one, like you and I were,
right?
And even if
the
like,
fact that this still has a cord, even though it's only one and not like 5.
yeah, I mean it has to, because they are offloading a bunch of shit to the PS5. That doesn't
Right.
bother me at all, really. But it's just like I just don't trust Sony, or I just don't trust them as like a VR company.
Yeah, to like make those experiences that you're gonna want to have with the actual VR, and then
Like,
also like, well, you have the problem where a lot of some of the games make you like nauseated, right? So
yeah, like Borderlands VR 2, or Borderlands 2 VR did that for sure.
yeah,
I think like one of the game did that. I mean, it's not like it wasn't the PSVR's fault specifically, but when they just try to like make a VR mode for a console game, that usually doesn't go well.
right. My cat is
uh,
going crazy here. Sorry.
yeah, but hey, if they want to, go ahead. But I think personally they need at least another year of getting the PS5 out onto shelves into people's hands. I mean, I was at a used game store or used store yesterday. They had 2 PS5s for sale. Like, one just came in as I was like
Right.
checking out. The other one they had was already sold for $650 used. Like,
Yeah. Well, so how much people want them right now? Yeah.
yeah, and it's because they aren't on store shelves. So
Yeah, because people probably think, oh well, how much damage could they have really done to this PS5? It can only be like less than 2 years old.
yeah,
So why not pay a little bit extra for something that they have to guarantee or whatever?
right.
Anyway, so I don't blame that person for paying the $650.
Yeah, like it didn't even come like no box or anything. It came like shrink wrapped, and that was it.
Oh
But it's
wow, not even the box. Okay,
right.
yeah.
But it's like, yeah, it's because there's such a demand for it. Like,
Right,
still.
exactly.
So,
Well, I mean, who knows? Maybe by the time this is gonna come out, they will have gotten more stock in there. You still got the holiday season to come as well, so you have that.
yeah, that'll really help.
I don't know that I'm gonna be like getting it day one or whatever. I think for me, they still have to prove the whole. Okay, you had 5 million people buy the first one, and there still wasn't like this bucket load of games for it.
I mean,
I think also it's something you have to get yourself used to, like wanting to have that experience over and over in VR as well. Like,
well, I think I saw, what was it? Astros and Moss, like the big, and Beat Saber, I guess, to an extent.
yeah,
But those are the big PSVR games. But like the VR2, they were like, oh, you can use this as a, like a headset or like a monitor for like your regular games. And it's
right.
like, you can do that with every headset, first of all. And then second of all, look, you're not going to play Elden Ring, a 100-hour game wearing this fucking helmet.
Yeah, no.
That's really the big problem to me personally, is like, I find it uncomfortable to wear.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't have a problem with the comfort.
Well, not
Yeah.
it's not comfort. It's just I get like hot wearing it,
Yeah.
eventually.
Oh yeah. That's just
So, and
normal.
it just
Like,
starts sweating. So it's like, yeah, this is not. I mean, this thing needs to come with a built-in air filter, or air fan rather.
yeah, no doubt, no doubt. For sure. So, we'll have to see when that actually comes out. So pretty quickly here, because we kind of ran long.
We had a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we did have a lot to talk about. Tiger Woods is gonna be on the PGA Tour 2K23, which EA also has their own PGA Tour game. So, that's gonna be interesting. I mean, obviously Tiger Woods was taken off because of the scandal that he went through. And then you wouldn't expect that EA would, go ahead and grab him again. So interesting yeah.
Here's the question: Is do you think it matters? Like, do you think people will see him and buy that game?
I think there will be. people that see
Yeah.
him and buy the game. Yeah, I do think it matters. In I mean, in a sport that it's individual, and you don't have that many like golfers that like you mention their name and you know who they
Yeah.
are
As
anymore.
like scandal ridden as Tiger Woods is, or as far as he's fallen, he's still like the most recognizable golfer.
Yeah, I mean, look, how big of a deal was it that he came back to the Masters or whatever when he did, and then like that's all people could talk about that week that he was golfing again. So, I mean, all these other guys are the ones that win, and nobody talks about them past the one time that you have the trophy presentation, and that's it. I mean, so this is not a. I'm sure golf is low on 2K or EA's list of sports games that they're really banking on, but
Right.
I think this definitely does help 2K to be able to get Tiger on the cover for sure. I mean, he will sell copies just because Tiger Woods is on it. Project Cars 1 and 2 is being pulled from sale due to licensed music and also, Cars licensing.
Yep.
So, yep.
It sucks, but I give him credit for giving people fair warning or
Yeah,
advance notice.
definitely.
It's not like it's already gone or
And because it's on there right now, Death Stranding is on PC Game Pass. I am not okay with the notion that people are. Look, I've never played Death Stranding. I can't give a comment on it. I know you were not the biggest fan of it.
I'm actually playing it now, so
Okay, you're playing it, but you do have you have the director's cut, don't you? Or
yeah.
okay, well that makes the game easier once you get certain things. That version, it's not the one that's on Game Pass. You get the regular version. So and then also, I guess because it's coming to Game Pass, PC Game Pass for the first time, you might get the part where people are helping you get through things that you wouldn't get if you tried to play the regular version now, because that's mostly gone for people not playing it. But I'm not okay with people just deciding that all of a sudden this game sucks because it came to Game Pass late, or oh well, it's a 2-year-old game, who cares? Like, listen, Sony doesn't have anything to do with the fact that it came to PC Game Pass. 505 Games is the one that does the publishing for that, very much like MLB does the publishing for MLB The Show. This is not a thing that console war over. It's a great game. It won many Game of the Year awards. Like, it's cool that it's on Game Pass. Like, I don't know that I'm going to give it a try because I can't run on my computer. If it ever shows up on where you can play it on as part of the cloud or whatever, then I'll try it there maybe. But like, listen, it's just sometimes people just have to find the stupid thing to fight over, and it's not necessary. So,
See, I could buy
yeah.
their argument more to an extent if it was only on PC Game Pass. If like that was the only way you could play it on PC is through Game Pass, then yes, people should be pissed. But the game's on Steam,
Yeah.
like, or I might be on Epic too, but who cares? But I mean, it's on Steam. Like, you could play it for the past year on Steam.
Yeah. Like,
So I think it's dumb, and yeah, like if you don't like it, like they're not forcing you to buy it or play it. Like,
yeah. Like, no, it's the Sony people saying, oh, well, you got a 2-year-old game, who cares? And then or saying that the game sucks because now you can play it on PC Game Pass, and it's like, really? Does it? Or are you just needing to have something to fight over? It's stupid. Anything you want to say about the games you've been playing? Or?
yeah, I'm playing Death Stranding actually, like we just said. Like I just said, me and Yen are playing Bloodborne.
Okay, I think you did talk about that.
Yeah, I mentioned that we only played like an hour or two before, like a few weeks ago. I don't think I like it, or I don't think I like it as much as he does.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, I looked it up. There's some like exploited dungeon in the game that someone like hacked together. So like he's been playing the game for 200 hours off like different characters and stuff like that. My
Yeah.
character is more advanced than his,
Wow.
like higher leveled,
Yeah.
which is like really funny. Because like this dungeon, you just walk in and an enemy gets killed, like off screen, or it's like gets killed by traps or something, and you get 80,000 experience points, and you just reset it, do it again. Just keep resetting it and doing it again over and over for like. It takes like 20 seconds or 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So I went from like level like 60 to like level 290 in like an afternoon.
Right.
I see the reason I don't like it is it's very much a like Mario Brothers 1 to like Mario Brothers 3 or Mario World. I compare it to like Elden Ring, which I think Elden Ring is just like the best designed for that type of game, like open world, exploring stuff like that. I find Bloodborne incredibly linear to like almost a detriment. And
Oh, I mean, that's the thing. Like you're playing it after you played. Like everybody tells me, if there's one Dark Souls game that might get you into the Dark Souls, it's play Bloodborne.
Here's the thing, though, is
like,
even compared to Demon Souls, the remake, and I even asked Yensis because we played the remake together, and I enjoyed that. Because I was like, how much is this remake like the original Demon Souls? And he was like, well, except for like visuals, it's like 95% or, almost exactly the same. And
right.
I prefer Demon Souls because even that's like non-linear. Like you have a hub world that you can like, go and explore different areas, like different, basically biomes. And Bloodborne doesn't really have that. It has a hub area, but like the linear path, through each area is just you only have like two ways to go, really.
Yeah.
So, what was the other thing? I'm so bored by Thymiscia, and two other things I bought. Yeah, I really have to finish that review, but dear God, it's destroying my soul. I bought Front Mission 3, and I haven't played it yet, but I know it's good, or I've heard good things about it.
Right.
And I did final placement LSD.
What's LSD? I'm sorry.
That $700 game I bought.
Oh, okay. Any
Yeah,
thoughts on that?
The Dream emulator.
That game. Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah, that's the weird thing is it is like the original walking sim.
Oh, okay.
Just not good at all. Like the way you control your character is terrible. Like your turning radius, you're like strafing kind of. It's all bad.
That sucks.
But like, I mean, I kind of chalk it up to like it's what they had to work with, really. Like,
right.
So like the first area I hit was like Monument Valley, where I entered this like park, and there were like the Empire State Building, the Sphinx, the Eiffel Tower, Big Ben, and like one or two other like monuments essentially. I left that, the dream ended, and then a weird FMV with sumo wrestlers happened, and yeah, that's about it. Like the other dreams are kind of boring, but there's no there. I mean, I think there is an eventual point, or you can like get to like the quote unquote end, but it is like very non-linear and atmospheric or just kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But it's all right. I assume you've completed Xenoblade yet, finally?
No, I have not.
Slacker.
I'm like 90 hours in now. The thing is, like the side quests are so good that I keep wanting to do all those. I've finally gotten to that part in chapter 5 where you're infiltrating the Agnes Castle, which is where stuff starts to pick up, and there's the big like moment I think in the game that everybody's been like hinting at online. So I'm getting to that point where it's like, oh, here's where the story is going to start, like really going to hit you with that hammer. So I'm kind of waiting for that. And then, yeah, I only got 2 chapters left, but because, you're getting heroes all the way through, like I want to get all the heroes. And then I want to get you have to max out with each hero, one of the main characters, they get that hero's class.
Yeah.
So in order to get the heroes like upgrade quest, or what they call ascension quest, which is like a little side story with them, you have to upgrade that class to level 10, which normally doesn't take that long. But if you do a lot of the side quests, that's one of the problems. I wouldn't say it's a problem. It's like the side quests are so good that you do them, that the main story doesn't level up with your characters.
Right.
So you're like, I'm like almost 20 levels above the bosses in the area that I'm in for the story, because I've done basically almost all the side quests up until that point. So yeah, it's not that's the only part that kind of sucks, is like you get to the story part and it's like, oh well, this stuff's a piece of cake, because I'm not gonna die, because I'm gonna kill these not like super fast or whatever, but I'm still gonna kill them relatively easily. They
Right.
do have a difficulty setting, which I'm thinking about whether I'm gonna like put it on hard mode or not, because of that. But no, I'm still having fun with the game. I'm still enjoying it. It's just I'm enjoying it so much. It's making me want to be in that world. I'm not like I'm not just pushing through to get to the end of the story, because the side stuff's so good too. So
Yeah.
well, yeah, that's the only game I've really been playing. So it's just I don't want to go over the same things over and over, but it's still enjoyable, and I still think people should go check it out if you haven't. That being said, I think we talked about already, Saints Row is out there if you want to buy it. If I would suggest not to, or wait for a sale.
It's pretty
Yeah.
bad when it's like on par with Agents of Mayhem.
Yeah. And then of course you got Madden as well that's out there. I'm sure that when we get to the sales for August, that will be ridiculous. I'm still going to check out that Midnight Fight Express at some point. I've been waiting for that game to come out. So there's that. There's also the I Was a Teenage Exocologist that's out. It's a card game based RPG that comes out in a couple of days. Soul Hackers 2 also comes out,
Yeah. The fun story about that, about the collector's edition of that.
Oh, really?
And they sent an email like a few days ago saying, yeah, the collector's edition is delayed till like mid-September.
Yeah, like they're only going to have the game come out, right?
And it's like, how does that, like, are you taking they said like we'll get the collector's edition excluding the game in September, but yeah, I got the game like this week, and it's like, wouldn't the game come in the collector's edition? Like, are you opening those up?
Apparently they're going to let you have the game so you can play it, and then you'll get your collector's edition stuff later.
Yeah, but to like make the collector's edition complete, you have to like open it up and then put the game in it. I didn't want to I want to keep that thing sealed. That was my problem, or my that really ticks me off. Like what they should have done is said, you'll get the game, it'll be in the collector's edition, but as recompense or as our apology, we'll send you like a digital code of the game.
Yeah, well, I could see that, but obviously, they're the ones spending money on it, so
yeah. Well, it's only $200 special edition. I mean, that's no biggie.
Yeah. Just give you $60 more on top of that for the game or whatever. That Pac-Man World Repack also comes out the same day, so that looks sort of interesting. So I never played the PS1 version, so by the time we record again, when you're hearing this, it will already be the last day of August. So you'll have a bunch of games that will have come out by then. The Commandos 3 HD Remaster, Destroy All Humans 2 Reprobed, which could be interesting. I know Jens is probably interested in that. Dust Diver 2, an action RPG. Inscription is getting its console release, which I love that game on PC, so I might pick it up on PlayStation as well. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Cowabunga Collection also comes out that day, and then Tinykin also, which is like a Pikmin sort of game, is coming to Game Pass. That comes out that day as well. So, and a lot of stuff coming out at the end of the month, and then also if you're into Phantasy Star, the Phantasy Star 2 online and the expansion come to PlayStation finally, as well. So there's that. A lot of stuff coming at the end of August here, all smashed together. So choose your whatever you want there. So yeah, until next week, everyone, we will see y'all later.
Later.
Peace.